Actor and philanthropist Gary Sinise recently suffered an unimaginable loss: the death of his 33-year-old son, McKenna Anthony Sinise. McKenna, one of Gary's 3 children with wife Moira Harris, passed away unexpectedly in February 23. Today we'll be discussing the tragic circumstances surrounding McKenna's premature death, how Gary and his family are coping, and what Gary has said publicly about losing his son at such a young age. Mac's cancer diagnosis. In August 2018, Gary Sinise's world was turned upside down. His son, McKenna Mac Sinise, then 28 years old, was diagnosed with chordoma, a rare cancer that forms in the spine. This news came just months after Sinise's wife, Moira Harris, had completed breast cancer treatment. Mac had been working with his father's nonprofit, the Gary Sinise Foundation, which builds homes for wounded veterans and first responders. He was pursuing his passions in music, having studied songwriting and composition in college. An exceptional drummer, he also performed alongside his father in the Lieutenant Dan Band. His diagnosis began a long and arduous journey for Mac and the Sinise family. Over the next 5 years, he underwent 5 major spine surgeries as doctors worked tirelessly to stop the cancer's spread. To manage his pain and assist in basic functions, Mac required constant caregiving support. Sinise later shared that despite Mac's paraplegia and daily struggles, he never lost his spirit. Though the cancer and surgeries took their physical toll, Mac rediscovered his love of music during this period. Unable to drum, he learned harmonica and, with the help from a collaborator, produced an album titled Resurrection and Revival. The project gave him hope and purpose in his darkest days. Death and grief. Mac Sinise passed away January 5, 2024 at age 33. The grief reverberated through Sinise and his tight-knit family. In a statement posted shortly after his son's death, Sinise wrote, "As parents, it is so difficult losing a child. My heart goes out to all who have suffered a similar loss and to anyone who has lost a loved one." Sinise took comfort in Mac's courage and perseverance fighting his illness over 5.5 years. Though cancer took his life, Sinise emphasized that his son never gave up hope or stopped pursuing his dreams. Quote, "He fought an uphill battle against a cancer that has no cure, but he never quit trying." The outpouring of support from friends, co-stars, and fans highlighted just how many lives Mac touched. Those who knew him described a talented musician and truly kind spirit. Sinise made sure his son's musical ambitions were seen through, arranging for Mac's album Resurrection and Revival to be professionally pressed just days after his passing. Continuing his mission. The loss of his only son fueled Sinise's dedication to his charitable work supporting veterans, first responders, and their loved ones. Having witnessed Mac's brave cancer battle and paraplegia firsthand, Sinise felt greater empathy towards those struggling with physical and emotional trauma. Sinise has traveled across the country, unveiling a new Gary Sinise Foundation initiative called the McKenna Mac Anthony Sinise Spirit Award. This annual award will recognize an injured veteran or first responder who demonstrates perseverance, artistic expression, and community service, the same qualities that defined his late son. Sinise sees undertaking this humanitarian work as not only a way to carry on Mac's legacy, but to support and honor those families currently experiencing the same loss and grief. His foundation's programs, from building accessible smart homes to family counseling services to morale-boosting Lieutenant Dan Band concerts, provide practical help derived from Sinise's personal journey alongside his son. Though Mac's life ended far too soon, his memory lives on through his father's ever-expanding charitable endeavors. Sinise once stated that his humanitarian work surrounding veterans and first responders allows those affected to know, quote, "what they've sacrificed has not gone unnoticed or forgotten." The McKenna Sinise Spirit Award will now similarly cement his own son's enduring legacy. Forrest Gump. While Gary has dedicated over 40 years to supporting veterans, he's perhaps best known for playing wounded Vietnam veteran Lieutenant Dan Taylor in the 1994 film Forrest Gump. This iconic role earned Sinise an Oscar nomination and helped inspire much of his present-day humanitarian work. During filming, he underwent intensive preparations to authentically portray Lieutenant Dan's war injuries. He wore blue fabric wraps on his legs for digital amputation and specially designed legless wheelchairs for enhanced realism. The grueling experience gave Sinise tremendous admiration for disabled veterans adjusting to life after combat. He soon became a prominent advocate for veterans organizations like Disabled American Veterans, later forming the Gary Sinise Foundation to aid wounded soldiers. The name Lieutenant Dan Band was chosen for his cover group, which entertains troops at home and abroad. Forrest Gump's lasting impact made clear that Sinise's involvement with vets was more a calling than curiosity. Meanwhile, Sinise prioritized historical accuracy, portraying Lieutenant Dan's complex Vietnam War experiences. This required extensive research into wartime conditions and veterans' post-traumatic struggles. He has since applied these lessons when sending World War II veterans to the National World War II Museum and recording their oral histories for educational purposes. Forrest Gump catapulted Sinise into the spotlight while awakening his lifelong purpose, supporting veterans, first responders, and their loved ones through both theatrics and service. Though acting in the role itself only lasted a short time, it reverberates through his humanitarian work to this day. First responder outreach. While Sinise's connection to injured veterans runs deep, he also actively aids first responders through the Foundation's namesake program. His close friendship with FDNY Captain John Vigiano, who lost 2 sons on September 11th, helped inspire expanded outreach to firefighters, EMTs, and police officers. Whether supporting the construction of memorial walls, hosting awareness campaigns, or providing crisis relief grants, Sinise prioritizes recognizing those on frontline duty. His Bob and Dolores Hope Award for services to veterans and military families recognized his efforts elevating an entire community of heroes. Standing tall, walking forward. Gary Sinise's selfless humanitarian work can be traced to many sources: his family, his faith, his fortune, and his friends. And his tragic loss of son Mac to cancer has only reinforced his mission. What began decades ago as handshake meet and greets with service members has grown into an influential enterprise through the Gary Sinise Foundation. Its programs boost morale, provide comfort, and meet urgent needs for thousands impacted by military service, disaster rescues, and personal loss. Gary Sinise stands as a role model, not simply through his artistic accomplishments on stage and screen, but through relentless drive to aid American heroes. Now it's time to hear from you. What part of Gary's story is most inspiring? Let us know in the comments section below.